Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be pixel peeping a bunch of files from the GF20 to 35mm f4 on the GFX system. All these were shot with the 100S, so we're looking at 100 megapixel files. This is actually part 2 to a video I uploaded last week. I was going to put all these segments in one, but the video was just way too long. So if you want to check out street photography, check out my previous video on that. That'll be basically no long exposure or anything like that. I also did a comparison between the XF 8-16 in that video, so go check out that video if that interests you. Otherwise, this will be all HDR long exposure. And that being said, let's get into the video. We are going to go over some long exposure shots. So this was, like I mentioned earlier on, one of the places we went to was the rooftop bar on Citizen M, and they are really photographer friendly. They don't care if you set up tripods or anything like that. So this was a 60-second exposure shot at 25mm. And if you see here, it was pretty heavy crop. Nothing that the GFX can't handle. But yeah, we are at basically, I guess it's hard. You can't really tell the percent if you crop in. But yeah, I mean, I think you can't crop in too heavy here, but this is pretty minimal. Obviously it's in the center, minimal distortion. I think also if we just went over here, you know, I mean, you really have two usable parts to the image. Unfortunately on this rooftop, it was, you had this, like, the building right next to it was like pretty heavy eyesore. If someone just, you know, took down this whole building, you would have a pretty phenomenal view. But yeah, I just wanted to point these two crops out. Pretty nice. Let's see, where was it? Okay, so yeah, let's keep moving. This was the sunset that just like kept giving. So before, you saw the first shot a while back. If you remember, it was just kind of basic. Then one, you know, not bad by any means, but nothing like world shattering. But then the sunset dipped and like it started getting really interesting. So basically, if you recall, there was a window here, so you kind of had to like just basically, it didn't make sense to really shoot at 20mm. But if we zoom in at 25, pretty minimal distortion, and this is no crop or anything, so not bad. If we keep going, this one I did shoot at 20, and as you can see, the distortion is a bit, you know, way more noticeable. You know, you have the 20 over here. All the buildings start kind of edging towards the center when you shoot it at the widest part of this lens. Wow, that's weird. It just showed a gap. But yeah, nothing you can't correct in post, but again, just remember you're gonna get those triangles. If we go to develop this and I do auto, oh, I did do auto. If we do off, yeah, sometimes you just have to correct it yourself. I'm not gonna go into it for the sake of time, but yeah, if we keep going, this was a 35mm crop, 50-second exposure. Pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Pretty, you know, no distortion here, or, you know, minimal, unnoticeable. Really nice. This was pretty neat shot that this one I already edited, but yeah, as you can see, I fixed this distortion. So this was 35, this was also 35, pretty much the same shot. I just kind of had my tripod set up and I, you know, left it there for, you know, for quite a handful of shots because the sunset just kept on giving. But if we, it should be, maybe I moved it slightly, but yeah, you know, you can definitely correct it, but you are going to lose some of the image. But here it wasn't too bad. This was a hypercrop from on top of the roof. Oh, I just thought this was pretty wild. I used to bike to work during COVID and whatnot, and this was like the crazy intersection that I always went through. I just thought it was pretty neat. This was shot wide open at 20. No correction. Yeah, it's like that did nothing. Like it's just kind of weird. Pretty minimal distortion. Again, it's just kind of like with wide and kind of ultra wide lenses, it's all about getting the angle right. If you get the angle right, you don't have to worry about distortion. But if this was like pretty crooked, you probably can't fix it. You know, yeah, it's not perfect. Obviously these are tilted more that way, but I think nothing you can't really adjust in post. This shot at 35, you know, minimal distortion here. Not going to go into it. This shot at 20. This was the first. I never really did HDR merging until the last 2 weeks. This was like the first shot I tried. So it's got some wonkiness going on. But shot at 20. Again, you got your triangles in the bottom, and unfortunately, I already cropped in. But we are going to lose a decent amount of the photo. I think it's fine losing some of this on the left, but on this side, it kind of, I would want to see more of this. So I think ultimately this would be pretty easy to extend it to fix in Photoshop. So not bad, but as you can see here, I didn't adjust the scale. You know, you do get some distortion. Like this looks a bit elongated. You know, like if I turn this off, this was what it was. So yeah, I struggle sometimes. It's like, it's a hard balance, right? It's kind of like, it's a game. It's like, oh, does it look off? Is it off? I can't tell. Because you look at what it was before and then you fix it and you're like, well, which one is more right? Maybe sometimes it's a safe bet is always in the middle. Yeah, let's keep moving. This was HDR merge. Pretty neat shot at 20. This was wide open. Just a pretty heavy crop, in-person crop. Obviously, this in the foreground is pretty out of focus, but all the buildings in the back, hyper sharp. This shot was a happy accident. I was getting ready to shoot this. I set up the tripod and then saw that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll shoot it. This shot wide open at 20. Not bad. I didn't put any distortion on, so the angle here, spot on. You know, I don't really see distortion in this photo. You know, the building in the center, pretty perfect. This texture is phenomenal. I love this. I mean, this could be a shot on its own. These I have no idea what these are, but these oil rig things, Domino Park, pretty spot on distortion wise. Also, this was obviously just a bit further down, so I did correct this. I don't hate this look. I just think you just have to basically level it out. Let me just do it real quick. I just feel like maybe it should be like this. Nope, it's not. But anyway, pretty neat. Again, if you do correct it, you know, you are going to lose a lot of the image. But neat shot. I like it. The distortion really isn't that bad once you fix it. But if you leave it like this, honestly, I also think you can't really go wrong with something like this. Long exposure, 2-minute exposure, waterfront shot. Looks like a lot of, I don't know what these are. I don't know what this is called, but they're not dead pixels, but maybe it's like, I have no idea. But shot wide open, shooting across the river into Manhattan. You know, minimal distortion, but you know, no crazy angles or anything. Just wide open, nicely done. This was shot at 35. This looks a smidge crooked, but if we take a look, this is a HDR merge, so it's a little bit slower to load. This we definitely have a little bit of distortion just because I didn't really nail the angle. Just a smidge though, it's not too bad. It probably can adjust it if I didn't already. Nope, you fail Lightroom. Let's keep moving. just the bridge shot. I actually did this shot, obviously you have, pointed straight up, you have a bit of distortion. This shot, I love this shot. Big fan of the shot. Basically, obviously, to be expected, you're going to have some distortion on the shot. It's a pretty extreme angle. I don't love how these buildings are really slanted upwards. It's not really, I don't really love that. I wish I could correct it. If you do correct it, like I already tried, it would be a pain to do it. So I think ultimately it's best to just leave it distorted, but I also don't mind the distorted look. I think it looks pretty cool. Be neat on a metallic print. This was another 2-minute exposure shooting towards New Jersey. No distortion whatsoever. Nothing really to report. This shot, I was on a pier. I forget what, I think it's like the Holland Tunnel ventilation building is on that pier or something like that. This is an HDR. I feel like the angle's a little off here. If I just adjust it, yeah, it's a little better. I would need to play with this, but yeah, it looks like it's a little blurry, but it's just the blown out. That was at 29.5. This one at 20. Minimal distortion here. Again, the angle's pretty spot on. Buildings maybe a little bit pointed, a little bit slanted, but nothing that you can't fix in post. I like this shot a lot. This was obviously a pano, or the two shots that make the pano that I'm about to show you. Pretty minimal distortion here. I think you could easily fix this. This was not adjusted. Just a bit off. This was the panel merge. This is one of those, like, the light changed and there's a I don't know what you call this, but a gradient where they meet, and it is going to be a burden to fix. And I don't know if I could fix it because stuff like that is kind of a pain, but nevertheless, a merge at 20 millimeters on both sides. I think it's a pretty cool shot. Let's see if I could fix that in post. This was just on the bridge. 35 millimeter, no distortion, looks pretty cool. Pretty minimal depth of field and whatnot. I think you have some, I don't know what that is, some ghosting of some sort over here. But you have some blur on the foreground, literally the foreground, and then after that, everything is pretty sharp. And this was on Pier 26, very shaky pier. This was really hard to get this image. I sat here for like 15 minutes. I just gave up, but to my shock, this was in focus. 28 millimeter, super sharp, and also pretty much no distortion. I don't know how I pulled the shot off, but pretty neat. You got the Colgate clock right there. Then if we look at this shot, this was a 4-minute exposure. This has a bit of distortion. I did start to fix this image. It's just low pointed upwards, I guess, creating the distortion. But I feel like I could fix this. One thing I didn't really go into heavily is the flaring and whatnot. And I feel like the flaring is more noticeable in all these long exposures. So obviously this is definitely the moon right here. And you just have a pretty heavy, flare coming off of it. Or maybe it's the clouds being lit, I'm not sure. I hope I have some other examples to show you. So that, or I'll go back and pull some out. This was like some weird, like movie-esque alleyway. Never heard of it before. I forget what streets it is. I have it geotagged somewhere, but this was an HDR shot. A bit of distortion, but I mean, this looks pretty sick when we fix it. This is just it's basically like a movie set. All these buildings look like really cool. Yeah, this was shot at 20. This is shot at 35. Both these look pretty solid to me. Distortion wise. Same thing, this was shot at 20, so I shot the same thing. you know, we're just gonna unfortunately lose some of this. I feel like I could fix this in photo. I don't think it's worth it. I definitely could fix this, but it would suck. Maybe like a 6 out of 10 level of suck. This was a happy find. Lisa found this. We were looking up just where to get onto the subway, and not super familiar with this area, but after we were headed back, found the original Ghostbusters building where they shot it, the first movie, or the first and second. Pretty neat thing. Like, so with the distortion here, shot at 20, you know, it's the unfortunate truth. Like, I already did crop in a little bit, but like, I'm gonna need to go to at least like right here. I could fix this in Photoshop, no problem. But like, yeah, maybe like right here. And it's just unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess. This was HDR merge. And I obviously did corrections on this already. But, you know, pretty happy with the results. Looks pretty good. It's a little grainy. I'm working on my HDR work, but this might be a ghost actually. I'm not sure. But yeah, Ghostbusters. Then I did a second one as well. Again, I already corrected this. Gonna need to move it to at least here and at least here. And I could fill in the rest in Photoshop. But you know, it's cool. It's a cool, cool shot. The lens is definitely the right lens for this. It would not be great. If I did a 45, I'd be doing a pano. So definitely a solid lens for this shot. This shot is just a, you know, shot in a subway on a tripod. So this was a 30-second exposure at f8. I wanted more of this to be in focus. And I wanted movement in the people. I didn't really want anyone, you know, super sharp or anything. So, but you know, not bad. This was another HDR merge. Sharp, and then drop off is over here. So I think I set the focus to like right here. But this is a pretty neat spot. I didn't apply any corrections to this. Let's see if that fixes it. We got our white triangles here. I don't know, I thought this shot would be kind of neat. I guess it's not bad when you crop in, but shot pretty much wide open. I keep saying wide open. I don't think it's the proper way to say it. Shot at 20 millimeters. I basically, I think I'm going to convert this to a landscape image, but pretty neat shot, kind of neat. Just shot from the other side. I like the other shot better. Maybe this is usable, but we got this weird, questionable water going on. This shot I really wanted to be cool. I just couldn't pull it off. I wanted this clock at the top. This is a 2-shot panel, so it was two landscape shots. So first shot here, the second shot there, HDR merge. So this clock looks pretty good for, you know, being, although this is kind of, it wasn't too far on the edge, but this clock is super sharp, pretty much not that distorted for, you know, the type of shot that it is. Pretty happy with that. Moving forward, this was in Williamsburg on a super windy day, or super windy sunset. If I just click auto here, yeah, I like that. That looks pretty good. Minimal distortion, shot at 35. I feel like in a situation like this lens may be a bit too wide. Maybe not that shot, but definitely this shot. This was a HDR merge. I think I have the same shot again. Yeah, same shot again. Two 20 millimeter shots. So just like what I was saying before, if you get the angle right, can't really go wrong. Minimal distortion, obviously not edited. Same sort of thing here. This is just another shot. We already went over this, but looks pretty good. Pretty minimal distortion, if any. This was a happy accident. I'll leave it in here because I thought it was cool. But yeah, I think that's pretty sick. This is a crop, pretty heavy crop. This is a Transmitter Park. I looked this up. I thought it'd be a really cool place to do some pictures at night, but I couldn't really. First of all, I think this lens is way too wide for anything. Second of all, like I went onto the piers over here. It is just way too windy. Like it just was not happening. But this pano, I definitely feel like there's pretty minimal distortion. Not too bad. You know, it is definitely a little noticeable, but not too bad. Probably not something I would use. But this shot at 20 as well. Pretty nice shot, no distortion. Pretty happy with this. Just got some windy trees. Shot at 20, obviously some distortion. If we click that auto button, I don't think that did it, but if I do get this right, it will definitely have some cropping to do. Unfortunately, I just kind of gave up on the shot. It just wasn't gonna work out. Oh, this is a good shot. Speaking of flares, the street light was right here, and you have some heavy flaring going on. Pretty heavy. Like I said, I noted. My focus is really more on long exposure these days, and at night I really like to use f2 lenses, maybe 2.8. But this lens on long exposure, you do get some pretty heavy flares. Like, I mean, look at this. You got big flaring over here, big flaring over here, here. You know, I'm gonna admit I didn't have a lens hood on. If I did, would there still be flaring? Absolutely. This lens definitely is not shy to flare. Speaking of flares, here's another shot. If we just bump down these highlights a bit, this is a HDR panel, no panel, it's just a HDR merge. Pretty heavy flaring here, for sure. I wish that it was a bit less flary, but it'd still be a cool shot. But yeah, like if I bring these down, that's still pretty extreme. Shot at 20, perspective shot, but minimal distortion. So I think this is just, again, another example of if you get the angle right, you can't go wrong. Same thing with this, just straight on. This is straight on, but crooked. No, straight on, but something's funky. I feel like I could fix this in post, but kind of a neat shot. Long exposure. This HDR merge Apple Store. Again, you have some flaring over here. That's really kind of annoying. Considering I did an HDR merge to make sure that I had all the detail in this, but I can't really fix these flaring, this flare, these lines over here. I could fix this, maybe this, but kind of disappointing. You don't really notice the flares until you start doing long exposures. At least that's we just went over a bunch of photos, and that's what my impression is. This was a 60-second long exposure, 120 long exposure, both shot at 20. I've shot this before. I've shown this before in my videos. This was just a daytime shot, which is pretty cool. I think fortunately the 2-minute was a smidge blurry, but if we zoom in here, despite being pretty wide open at 20, pretty wide at 20, we're at 100%, you know, minimal distortion. I don't really see any distortion here. So this is a great example of a good shot, waterfront shot that would be pretty solid to use this lens for. We also have a shot going down the pier, you know, shot at 20, pretty much no distortion. Maybe, nah, I think it's pretty good. Pretty solid. Another long exposure, shot at 27.8. And I think you definitely have a bit of distortion going on here. I think the next shot, yeah, I fixed it on the shot. We have the white triangles, which I already started to fix. I think from here would be good. and from here would also be good. I can probably fix these in post. This is one of those shots where it's like, when you correct it, I feel like maybe this is a little too elongated. I adjusted the aspect a bit. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe just all the way. I'm not sure. It's one of those, like, it's like a Rorschach test. I don't know. Shot at Jane's carousel. I shot this during the night and it was really cool. And I wanted to shoot it during the day and it's really just not dark enough. Kind of creepy in a way. But I shot at 20. Distortion, not too bad. I cropped in. We do have the triangles. On a shot like this, super easy to fix. I could easily fix this, so that's not a problem. But, you know, this is what it originally was, so a bit of distortion. This shot, straightened it out, auto-corrected it. I'm in the process of editing. I didn't really fully finish it. But shot at 27.8. Once corrected, doesn't look like there's really any distortion, so pretty solid. And sunset shot, shot at 20. Again, pretty minimal, like no distortion. I don't really notice anything glaring. Looks pretty good to me. I took a couple here. This shot as well, shot at 20. Don't see any real distortion here. I did a couple shots of this. This one was 8-minute exposure. You know, pretty solid shot. Shot Radio City again. In my final review video, again, stay tuned for that and definitely subscribe. In my final video, review video on this, the more long format, the video where I feature final edited photos, I will compare the 23mm shot I did of Radio City with this one. So that's why I reshot Radio City. I really wanted to do a bit of a one-to-one, although, you know, the angle's not going to be 100%, but yeah, so stay tuned for that. But shot Radio City, and the computer is not liking these Pano HDR shots. Okay, so this was Rockefeller Center Plaza, I think they call it. They had some like weird waterfall display thing. I did a correction on this. I don't know about this shot, but I did the correction. You know, to use it again, you got to really. I could probably do it like from here, but not sure. Hot dog truck right by Radio City. You know, shot at 34, and not bad. Pretty much no distortion. This shot at 20. Bit of an odd angle, so this is an HDR merge. I didn't really edit it yet. If we fix this, this is really what we're looking at. Again, probably going to you know, crop it like this. You probably can't get away with that because there's a shadow on the ground. Could probably crop this to like right here. But yeah, I just feel like on a shot like this, it's best to just leave it like this, so you don't cut off like a lot of this upward part, you know, like you could see this other wall, and when you correct it, you can't. So HDR merge, again, just a shot with some ground that needs to be corrected. I feel like I could probably, like here would be pretty safe to fix. Yeah, these are some shots I didn't really edit at all. In Hell on Earth, Times Square, where no native New Yorker likes. I thought this would be cool to do. I'm going to do an HDR merge of this shot. I just didn't get that far yet. But, you know, shot at wide open, shot at 20mm. And, you know, I think it's a pretty cool shot. Not too distorted. I mean, this building is kind of, you know, distorted, but I think it's a cool shot. Same thing with this. You kind of got the this is the scaffolding. You got scaffolding and then the two buildings on the sides kind of just closing in at the top. I think it's cool. I really like this shot, but I noticed that the ads are of the Kardashians, and I don't know if I want to support that, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna edit the shot. But I thought it was pretty cool. Like, I like this shot on its own. Like, I could see even not doing an HDR merge, just leaving this as it is sometimes. The light trail is pretty cool, but this whole building was illuminated. I thought that was neat. And you know, you definitely have that some pretty heavy distortion going on, but I think when the tops of the buildings like fill the frames and whatnot, I think that's pretty cool, pretty acceptable. It's a style. Same thing with this, same exact thing. This was at Bryant Park. I also shot this waterfall on the 23, so again, stay tuned for that video where I'm reviewing final files. I'll definitely have one of this comparing with the 23. Yeah, not too much to say. The distortion is pretty non-existent here. I'm pretty happy with this shot. Just a quick building shot, headed straight down the street. We do have, actually this is, ignore that. That's actually from the waterfall. That's not anything to do with flaring. Here we do have some flaring going on, also here, but nothing too crazy. Just a pretty neat shot, and I love how the buildings fill this frame out. So shot at 20, so not bad. This is also shot at 20. I did start some correction on this. I'm gonna just turn this off just to show you what it looks like. Honestly, not too bad. I could potentially see just keeping it as it is, cutting off some of this ground. Like, this looks pretty good. Actually, I think sometimes correcting it leads you down path that you shouldn't bother going. But yeah, this is HDR merge. This will be a neat edit. Stay tuned for that. And again, this, I also have a similar shot. The unfortunate thing is that there was this big, there was a lot of things in the road, so I couldn't match up the shot I did with the 23, but this was one of my, I did shoot this exact scene with the 23, one of my favorite shots. I just couldn't do a one-to-one, unfortunately, but I thought this came out pretty cool. Apple Store again, good example talking about flaring. Here is a nice ugly flare right there. I don't even know what it's from. Maybe from this, I don't even know. If we look here, nothing too crazy. Obviously we have some distortion. This is just one shot HDR, pretty extreme angle, also pretty extreme like architecture in the store. So take it for what it is. I also took one more angle here. Again, we got the same flare. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think the flaring is not insane, out of this world. The price point of this lens, it's on the GFX pricing spectrum. I mean, it's by no means cheap, but I feel like for the price it is, the flaring might be a little too high, but it's really only noticeable a ton in these long exposures that I've been showing you. So this is the second video that in a row that we're ending with Duncan, because he basically is a very fragile dog, and if he doesn't get attention, he starts to cry. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed pixel peeping these files. My favorite type of photography at this point is definitely HDR / long exposure. So these were personally my favorite shots to share with you guys that I took, of course, with the 20 to 35mm lens. It's a really cool lens. I am definitely looking forward to creating this final review file that I'm going to have in the next probably 2 weeks. It's going to be a pretty cool one. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that button. I'm going to be having some more videos coming out after the review. The first one will probably be a comparison video between the 50 and the 45mm on the GFX system, and probably a video on the 110 as well. So that being said, let me know if you had a favorite photo or if you have any comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on how this lens handles HDR and long exposure. And that being said, catch you in that next video.